So what could the foreign policy impact of Donald Trump's speech be? For more on this, I'm now joined by Michael Hudson, Professor of Arab Studies and International Relations at Georgetown University. So good to speak to you. Trump's campaign raised some questions over the kind of tone he would use, as he frequently attacked Muslims in the past. But his tone was much different in the speech, wasn't it?
Well, indeed it was. Mr. Trump is known here, I think, from his campaign speeches as an Islamophobe. And he has made very negative statements about the religion. And of course, he tried to take some action to ban Muslims from even entering the United States. So what we have in this speech, of course, is I think, quite a well-crafted effort to swing away from that. And while I haven't seen the full text of the speech, my understanding is that he did not use the term radical Islamic terrorism that he had used previously, and used a more moderate, softer term instead. And clearly the audience to whom he was speaking there in Saudi Arabia, the officials of Saudi Arabia and the Gulf countries and other Arab countries, were very happy to hear that, because they definitely want enthusiastic American support for the two things that really bother them, and the Saudis in particular, one being Iran, and the other being ISIS and Islamist extremism.
Yes, and Trump announced a deal aimed at cutting sources of funding for Daesh with Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states. Do you think this plan is possible?
I think the real takeaway from this meeting may be the financial and economic agreements that were reached. And certainly that includes funding for opposing terrorism, but it also includes funding for arms and even Saudi participation in loans for the development of the American infrastructure. I think here in Washington that will be seen as a major accomplishment of this meeting. And of course, the other thing
Saudi Arabia has been accused of funding and arming terror groups, including Daesh. So what do you make of the US partnering with the kingdom of combat terror?
Well, clearly the Trump administration has decided that it's really buying into the Saudi regime, the Saudi royal family's interpretation of things. And so there is no talk about the Saudi government funding terrorism, even though there has been, of course, in the past, and there is considerable worry that individuals in the wealthy Arab Gulf states still may be supporting some of these extremist groups. But that was something that I think Mr. Trump did not want to deal with. Just like the other thing he did not really want to deal with was the question of human rights, whether in Saudi Arabia or in other places. And I haven't heard any words about the war that Saudi Arabia is conducting in Yemen, which of course has created, I think, considerable criticism back here in the United States for the way it has been conducted.
That's all the time we have. Thank you very much for joining us here on TRT World. Michael Hudson, Professor of Arab Studies and International Relations at Georgetown University there.